The Niner MCR 9 is the most comfortable gravel bike I've ever been on, whether it's normal gravel roads, rough double track, or even single track. But one of the things I'm really curious about is how does it compare to a standard gravel bike in terms of how fast it is. So if you've seen some of my other videos, I've used the Niner MCR 9 on a couple very fast group events, and I felt like I was at a slight disadvantage. I was very comfortable on the ride, but when the pace surged and it was time to really get on the gas, I felt like it did not accelerate as quick for a couple of reasons. It's about 3 pounds heavier than my standard gravel bike, which is a Niner RLT 9. And also the fact that it's full suspension. If you don't have the suspension locked out, I feel like the bike may suck up a little bit of power. But I'm going to really put it to the test today and do a time trial on the MCR 9 and compare it to my RLT 9. Both bikes are set up exactly the same. They literally have the same build, same tires, wheels, components, everything. So I'm gonna head out on the MCR 9 first. I'll do about a 5 or 6 minute stretch. I'll rest for a little bit. I'll do another section, which I don't know, I think it takes about 6 or 7 minutes. Come back to the house, pedal back out on the RLT 9 and repeat those same sections. Now, just a disclaimer here, this is only one type of gravel. It's fairly bumpy in some sections, but it's pretty flat. There's not much elevation change. So this is how these bikes are gonna do on this section of gravel, which is really common of what we have here. There are 1,000 different types of situations you could be riding in, whether it's the elevation change, the surface, how long the segment is. But I feel like I'll be pretty comfortable with how the results turn out, again, for my section of gravel that I ride. With that, it's time to head out for a ride. Getting ready to start section number 2 on the MCR. I'll start it right at that 30 miles an hour sign. Slow rolling start, slow way down. Up a slight hill. All right, so that was about 45 minutes round trip. Time to switch over to the RLT and repeat it. Okay, fellow bike nerds, I've got some data for you. But before I get into the numbers, let's talk about the ride quality of both bikes. The RLT 9 feels more lively, a little bit snappier, a little bit more responsive, which is completely understandable, especially out of the saddle. So the MCR is designed so that the pedaling should be in the saddle. If you're going to get out of the saddle, you're really best locking out the suspension, which is really easy to do, especially the rear shock. So that's not a bike that's tuned to be ridden out of the saddle because the suspension is tuned to be so linear and so small bump sensitive, it will bob when you're out of the saddle. Now the MCR9 is so incredibly smooth on the rough roads. There's a cut through section coming out of my neighborhood that I use, and it's grassy, it's bumpy. The MCR9 is so smooth on that, it's like there's not any bumps. Also, our dirt roads are lime rock based, a lot of them. Lime rock can be really smooth or it can be really pitted and washboarded. And so today it was pretty rough. It's been really dry. And so there were little potholes, little divots in the road that are going to be hard to see in the video, but trust me, they're there. You can probably see my hand shaking in the video, but that's where the MCR9 just absolutely floats over that stuff. So let's talk about the numbers for the 2 time trial sections. So on the first section, on the MCR9, I had a 546 with an average heart rate of 165, max heart rate of 174. When I went back out on the RLT9, on the same section, I had a 538, so 8 seconds faster on this standard gravel bike, the RLT. And my heart rate was averaging about 3 beats higher on the RLT9, I think because it was pretty hot. Probably a little bit less hydrated, and it's like mid 80s right now. Fortunately, it's not very humid, which is nice, but it was pretty warm. And then I did have a power meter on the RLT9, and the normalized power for that first section was 296 watts. Now I'm light, so before you guys who are 200 pounds laugh at my power numbers, I am fairly light, like 145 pounds, and I'm not in my training season yet. So 296 watts normalized power. I did see power numbers around 380 at times, but that's my normalized power. All right, let's talk about the second section. So on the MCR9, the first go around, I had a 512 with an average heart rate of 166. And then the same section on the RLT9, I had a 509, so 3 seconds faster, and with an average heart rate of 167. So heart rate was about the same. Normalized power on the RLT9, 286 on that one section, or on the second section. It is worth noting that my legs felt just a tad less fresh when I went back out the second time on the RLT9. So I probably was even a couple seconds faster on the RLT9 if I would have done that bike first. So that's another thing I take into consideration. So what does all this mean? Well, it depends on who you are. If you're a person who does gravel races, you're going to want to be on a traditional gravel bike most of the time unless it's really rough. I think that the rougher it is, the faster the MCR9 is going to be compared to a traditional gravel bike. I think if the courses are really rough, like rough double track, rough gnarly fire road descents, I think you're going to be faster on the MCR9. I'm not sure if I'll get a chance to do a time trial on really rough stuff before I have to send the MCR9 back. It is a demo. But if comfort is your #1 priority, I think the MCR9 is the most comfortable gravel bike on the market right now. When I do my final review of this bike, I'm going to get more into who I think the bike is for. There's a lot of different categories of riders I think the MCR9 would benefit. But I'll just say the one category is those people who value comfort and control on downhills, who value those things over just raw speed. It's the hard accelerations, the climbing, where a traditional gravel bike is just going to be faster. But again, if that's not a priority to you, MCR9 is really nice. So that'll wrap up this video talking about the MCR9. I've got a couple more coming out before I send the bike back, so check out my channel for those coming up. As always, any questions or comments that you have so far, drop those below. Thanks for watching.